everybody. Welcome to another week of Beyond Parody. My name is Dan Dillon. I am your host, the founder of Not the Bee, and I'm joined by Robynn, Travis, and Mr. B.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
It is a little bit of a different week for us. This is typically a humorous news show where we talk about the news of the week and try to kind of find a lighthearted humor in all of it. There's not really any lighthearted humor this week going around. It is a very heavy week. It is very difficult to get through the two major news stories of the week and find any humor in them at all. But we're not here to just lament. And I don't think that, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, just simply, I think that he would want, for instance, we've heard that South Park has pulled the episode that featured him, and I think he had a really good sense of humor, and I think that he liked to laugh, and I think that he liked people who were opposed to him having the right to speak. And I don't think that his intention, which I don't know, but I don't think that his intention would be for everybody to be all doom and gloom, but to celebrate the things that he achieved, which are numerous. Robynn, when you think of Charlie Kirk, what do you think of?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When someone passes away, all of a sudden you do go through what your relationship was with them as a public figure. Charlie Kirk is one of those accounts that pops up frequently, and I followed him on X, I followed him on Instagram, and I have loved he has revolutionized the way we do public discourse. And I don't know if we fully thought about that yet, and that's going to be his legacy, because what he did is he brought people together. And when you watch his videos, Charlie is as good a listener as he is good an orator. And that is something that, honestly, as a person who likes to talk a lot, me, I have watched I don't know. I have watched his videos and been really inspired to become a better listener, because we think of Charlie as the things he said, but even more so are the things he listened to, and he let people speak. He was rarely really disrespectful. I watched so many videos just the last 2 days of him talking to the most extreme people on any side of the political spectrum. I mean, I want to say the craziest of crazy people. I mean, really going to use that word. And he would never react like I would want to react, which is just to come unglued. He was so metered and so respectful, and he changed the way we do political discourse. And I think that if nothing else, and there's so much else to talk about when it comes to his legacy, is what he did for free speech and what he did to open the dialogue in our country. And I hope as we're going forward, somebody, if not all of us, take the reins with that. And that brand of discourse does not die out. And I have teenage boys, and they've watched a lot of Charlie Kirk, and I want to tell them, take this, and this is how you should confront detractors. Just calm and with the receipts, because Charlie was so smart and he knew his stuff.
Well, that's one of the things that's remarkable about it that I think allowed him to be so calm, is that I think a lot of people get worked up in debates, and they get worked up in disagreements because they feel like their intelligence and their knowledge of a subject is being threatened. When we watch Charlie speak, almost from the time that he was 18 years old to now, or up until yesterday, he never seemed at a loss for words. But it wasn't because he just liked to hear himself speak. It was because he seemed to always have the answer, always.
A good answer.
And more detail than I could provide about almost any subject, even subjects that it feels like I should know more about than he does, which is crazy. And that's really one of the things that's most impressive to me, is that when I get into heated debates with people, you could probably zoom in and see, my blood is pumping faster. I turn red a little bit. I get upset. I get defensive. Everybody does. I never saw that with Charlie. Not once at any of his events. And he was specifically putting himself into situations where that would have been the most likely reaction to these insane people that he's talking to.
He was zen. He was so zen.
He was very good.
I couldn't talk to people like that. There's no way. And I'm a very prolific interviewer who has interviewed over 4 people in the entire world. There's no way. Like, even just debating in my family, sometimes you can take things too seriously.
Right.
And him being able to just go out there and embrace the discussion and the disagreement that's a rare talent.
Right. It takes being very, very confident. and he was very confident. He was confident that if he was going to speak on a subject, he was going to know enough about it that he was going to have a lucid and sane argument that you couldn't just poke holes in. Unfortunately, a lot of the people that he goes up against, you can poke holes in their argument in 15 milliseconds. And he was great at exposing that. And he was great. If you said what you think his legacy is going to be, let's hear from him what he wanted his legacy to be, because I think it's beautiful, honestly. And I actually don't know exactly when this interview occurred, but he was on a podcast, and he was asked the question of how do you want to be remembered? And let's go ahead and play this clip, because I think it's a really great, encouraging clip about who he was as a person.
If I die, everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
That's great. It's such a good, simple, concise answer. I mean, I just want to be remembered for my POG collection.
And your faith.
Well, yeah. Well, some of the POGs have faith on them.
That's beautiful. I haven't watched that clip.
What do they call that, Robyn? Societal inscriptions or something like that? What's CNN?
Cultural. Oh, yeah. I've already. It's so CNN. Because the story is ongoing and all the news is coming in. CNN said that on the weapon they found or on the bullet casings they found cultural phrases.
Yeah, I just heard about that.
Cultural phrases. We're not calling it it's like the new what do they say during the mostly peaceful riots. It's just cultural phrases.
The cultural phrases they're referring to, though, are like apparently pro-trans, anti-fascist statements on these
Antifa stuff
on the ammunition.
Cultural phrases.
Which again, we don't know that it's actually the gun that was used, the rifle that was used. We don't know that isn't just a red herring type of a thing to throw people off. We don't know anything at the moment that we're recording this podcast, which is on Thursday. We don't know who the actual shooter is. We assume at this point in time that he was up on the roof across the way. There's question as to whether or not that's the case. There's all types of weird things happened that are just really, it seems to be this way. There were people in the crowd. One person seemed to take credit for, I don't know if credit's right.
Yeah, he's a guy actually, he's known in the Utah political community. He's kind of a crazy old guy. I can't remember his name, but he's got like a restraining order against like the governor and all of the major political figures. He's a guy that people know, and he was there agitating. And people said they heard him say it was me, but he was just standing.
Well, there's video of him saying, "Just go ahead and shoot me," or whatever. As he was being cuffed,
right.
He said, "Just shoot me, just shoot me."
Was that the older man?
Yeah, the white hair, and he's being charged with obstruction of justice because in the moment he drew a lot of law enforcement to him. Whether or not he had anything to do with it, he did obstruct justice.
It's very possible that his distraction allowed the gunman to get away because they literally thought that they had found the guy that did it. I mean, it's like, why would somebody say those things if it wasn't true? He was in the vicinity. I mean, it's just awful that somebody would do that and take credit for it for any reason.
Yeah, and also, why would Kash Patel say they had a suspect in custody and then it turned out for a second time not to be true?
That's who he was talking about. Well,
and there was a second guy too that they apprehended two different guys, because I saw another video of a big kind of middle-aged, portly white fellow getting handcuffed and taken into custody. That was another person of interest, but he wasn't the shooter. Somebody was doing something at the event. It's interesting. I mean, this is 60 miles away. Not even that. It's like 45 miles away from my house. And UVU is the college that my husband graduated from. It's a school I have many friends who attend. And I found out that Charlie passed away or was taken to the hospital where I had my first baby. This is a very personal, especially in Utah. There's a lot, of local stuff. Before Charlie came out, the local news there was a big protest. And as many locals know, the news has been completely co-opted by the left, the local news on all levels. And they really pumped up the protesters. The news did. They ran article after article, sharing the link to the petition to sign to get Charlie, banned from campus or whatever. And, I hate to say, well, they're complicit. They have blood on their hands, but they definitely didn't help lower the temperature of this event. I'm going to call it out, KSL, Salt Lake Trib, even the Deseret News to some extent. And to see that happen in Utah, of all places, which people think is a very solidly red state, it is not. We are sliding purple, guys. And something has to be done about that. And I pray that there's going to be accountability to this. But I do think, and I'll read this real quick, Governor Cox, who I've actually worked on his team, and he's a really good man. I don't agree with everything he's done. I think there's been some ideological misses in his campaign, but his statement in his conference yesterday, which the nation saw, I thought was so good. He said, "If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit in the news of the shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere." So I thought that was a really good statement.
Yeah.
But
It is. I like that.
And I think that I think right now, we're talking about some of these different things about was it the gun? Is it the person that of interest that they're looking for right now? Is that really the person? There's a lot of speculation that could happen. It's very possible that by the time this episode airs, a lot of those questions are going to be answered. So I don't think we necessarily need to spend a lot of time speculating.
Right.
But speculation can be very dangerous. For instance, there's a video going around Twitter that has made its impact, and it's starting to get spread in the conspiracy theory world about a man standing next to Charlie in a white shirt and a white hat, and they say he's giving signals to the shooter. And I happen to personally know who that is. In fact, is a personal friend of mine. His name is Frank Turek, and Frank was standing next to Charlie because Frank was one of Charlie's best friends. Frank also was one of the first people to respond to the shooting and try to apply pressure, try to give CPR. I mean, this person, Frank, for those who don't know, he's a famous apologist, Christian apologist.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we had him on the Babylon Bee podcast before. Yeah,
and I would love to have him on this show too. And he's an amazing person who absolutely, in a heartbeat, would have given his life for Charlie to continue his 100%. It's sad, speculation can be very bad sometimes when people start speculating down the wrong road. And we just so happen to know that person is not involved in any way, shape or form with the shooting of Charlie. I mean, none of that even makes any sense. Like, why does a gunman need somebody standing next to his target saying, "Yeah, do it"? It's like, none of it makes any sense at all.
No.
And it's sad and it's disrespectful and it distracts from the important message, which is Charlie lived a life that was so impactful that in 31 years, I mean, when you talk about politics, 31 years is a newborn. I mean, like it is.
Right. He couldn't even run for president yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's similar to say AOC, but AOC's career started when she was in her 30s, really. Yeah. Charlie's been in politics for 15 years.
He was 18.
Yeah,
probably younger than that.
Before he was 18, he was making an impact. I think the first time that he got press was because of it was either a middle school or a high school paper that he wrote about textbooks and how they're liberally slanted and things like that. And it got the attention of local press, and that was like his first impact. And so he's been politically active since high school at the very least, at the very earliest. And so, like, I mean, his life, it was just starting. It was just starting. Everybody who knew him, I think, and Michael Knowles, I think, said this in his tribute to him, like everybody who knew him just got the sense that he's going to be president one day. Yeah. And that doesn't always end up coming true. Like, I think that, sometimes, people don't necessarily do as good when you go on a national stage as you think they're going to. But I'd say that of all the people that under the age of 35 on the conservative side, he probably is the person who's most likely to have been able to do that with his, it's kind of like J.D. Vance, just how quickly they can come up with facts and figures and recall specific events in a very lucid, very convincing way.
Well, and we were talking about it last night, me and my husband, and I said, is this what it felt like on some level when Martin Luther King was assassinated? And so we started drawing comparisons. Charlie really, I mean, if you want to talk about someone who created an impact and affected change, if you think about it on the scale of like an MLK or a large public figure in history, Charlie mobilized the youth. He mobilized Gen Z. If you look at the demographic shift towards the right, we have, and I'm going to call it out, pretty deplorable male far right wing. You got the Nick Fuentes and the Andrew Tates, who I dislike. And Charlie really gave ground to sensible, moral, value-centered Christian men to say, I want a part of this movement and I want to be part of this. And I don't want this misogynistic, driving the Ferrari lifestyle. I just want to have a family. And if you look at the shift, the Trump won last year, and I think we can trace a line to Charlie Kirk and what he did with the youth and with the young men. I have 4 sons, and I think they were just kind of coming online. I have a 15-year-old who I was going to start letting, I let them listen to some Daily Wire stuff, but I'm mourning the loss of what Charlie could have been in the life of my kids as they came online of the political world in the next 10, 15 years, or even 5 years. And I'm going to definitely have them go back and listen to his content. And Charlie was, we can say, oh, he was very serious. He also was very glib and very sarcastic. And I think there's a part of that. I think he had a great sense of humor.
People don't see that he had a great sense of humor. They don't. And I mean, he was a big fan of the Babylon Bee. Huge fan, huge supporter. Seth shared on Twitter, some of the texts that go back and forth. Just a huge encouragement to us, especially when we were going through the things where we were banned and basically ostracized from civil society. Travis, did you meet Charlie when he was on the podcast or no?
No. That was either before my time or it could have been during my accident period. I'm not sure because I don't have any memory of him coming on. So I meant to look it up. Oh, did he come on before? And then I didn't have a chance to. And now you're saying it like, oh, okay, well, that happened. No, I never had the pleasure to. And in all honesty, I never listened to his program. Because there's only so much room for podcasts and stuff in your life, and he's just one I never got to. But seeing the reaction of people reacting to his death and all the kind things they're saying about him really makes me want to go back and listen to some of that and really catch up on what I've been missing.
You've been missing a lot. I mean, it's impressive, and I'll play a clip here in a minute that I think is just super impressive. And we don't need to go into a whole montage of clips, but I want to show one clip that just kind of, to people who may not be very familiar, I want to show this clip of Charlie's just like, these aren't, his questions, they're not scripted. He's not planting people in the audience that are giving him questions that he's prepared for. And so when you listen to the response that he gives to this person, when he's asked about, basically he's being questioned about Christianity and its role in U.S. government because the government of the United States, quote unquote, wasn't founded as a Christian nation, blah, blah, blah. His response to this is so on point, so accurate, so quick, and so detailed that like this is what the world is going to be missing, and this is why he really was one of the greatest debaters of any generation. I'm not just talking to say of our generation. He really was one of the greatest debaters of any generation. So let me share this clip with you guys real quick. This is pretty impressive.
The country was founded on common law because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times, and the Constitution doesn't refer to God at all. And it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 9 out of 13 of the original states required you to be a Bible-believing Christian to serve in government at the time of the founding. 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration of faith. Almost every single one of the original state constitutions, Pennsylvania included, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in the original state constitution. You remember, we're a collection of states before that. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. So common law is inherited from Blackstone, who was Christian. Common law is an outgrowth of the scriptures. So let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, right before the most famous part of Leviticus 19, which is that you should love your neighbor as yourself. But before that is that in the administration of justice, you shall not favor the rich or the poor, which is the idea of blind justice. We get that in the West, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal: neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which is the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas. They're not Enlightenment ideas, which is they kind of...
I'm just going to pause it for a second. It's almost like he has more information than it's possible to contain, and it's just coming out. Like it's like he's like ChatGPT 7 or whatever.
He's a computer. Yeah. It was like,
but it's digestible. Like I'm not getting lost. Like it is a lot, but he's able to break it down in a way that
that's a
you
good
can
point.
Understand.
That's a very good point, because I was able to follow that, and I traditionally cannot pay attention to anyone. So,
well, then you should listen to a lot of Charlie Kirk, because he's very understandable. There was a clip I watched too along the same lines of a woman who came to one of his events. You know, and if you're not familiar with the structure of his events, he literally just took questions from the audience. Like people would line up, they'd come to the mic. He hadn't, and like Dan said, they were not scripted. I guarantee he had no idea what the person was going to say,
because you couldn't even make some of that stuff up.
You couldn't make. But I watched a video this morning that really brought me to tears, and it was a woman who she had said that she had had an abortion, and and she explained the process of it, and she said how terrible she felt about it now, and Charlie didn't, as a Christian man, you know, he listened to her and he just said, "You've been forgiven, and as long as you've come to Christ, that you know." He could have in the moment judged her and condemned her, but this exchange between these two it was so human. And this woman, she did not go away feeling negative, you know, and she was not promoting abortion. She said she very much regretted having done what she had done. And I think he was so approachable on such a base level of just like, hey, I even people that disagreed with him, he wasn't confrontational, but he was able to hold his principles, which is hard. And like we talked about at the beginning, I also, when I'm in a debate situation, can lose my cool. And then, and like I always tell my kids, once you've lost your cool, you've lost the debate pretty much. In rare circumstances, no. But this exchange, and I encourage you guys to go watch it if you can find it on X or on YouTube, of him and this woman. It's very Christian. It's one of the most beautiful back and forths. And then like he'll turn around and answer a question about gun control or answer a question about trans stuff or whatever. Like it's just crazy to see him
with literally more detail than you could imagine that a human being was capable of. It was like, it's like a computer just rattling off statistics, but they're all relevant, and they're all right on. And we are in the conservative media space here on the Babylon Bee, and on Not the Bee. This is our community. Charlie Kirk was in, we haven't had him on the show, but we very well could have at some point. And it really hit close to home. We know all these people. I listen to all of these people as part of my daily routine of information, consumption. And and speaking of that, I wanted to tell a little bit of a story about the first time that I met Charlie, because I think it speaks to his character. And this is, honestly, this is very difficult for me to talk about all this stuff. Last night was a very difficult night for me.
Yeah.
I spent extra time with my kids last night. It was, it hits home. And like I've said, like to me personally, Charlie was more than an acquaintance, not quite a friend. It's not that we weren't friendly. It's just, he's not the type of person who's just in my phone and I'm texting and checking in on all the time. But my brother, he was a friend to my brother. And so he's close to our family. And the first time I met him, this is the impression that I got, which was pretty incredible, because at the time, I don't know the exact date. I believe it was sometime in 2018 or 2019, sometime when Trump was president before the 2020 election. There was a Turning Point USA event in West Palm Beach, and he invited me and Seth to come backstage, watch him speak, and meet him, and also, say hi to Candace Owens, who was also going to be there. And it actually turned out to be the first time I met Candace Owens as well. And so my family, we said, can we bring my mom and dad and our friend? They're huge fans. And he said, yeah, sure, bring whoever you want. So we went and we watched him speak, and it was awesome. And the event was great. It was Seth's first time at a Turning Point USA event too, I believe. And now Seth, does headline speaking at these events and stuff like that now. And we were waiting backstage after the speech, and it was taking a really long time, like half hour went by, 45 minutes went by, an hour went by. And at some point in time, we don't really know Charlie at all at the time. So we're like, is he standing us up? Is he, what's going on? Whatever. I'd say almost 2 hours. It was probably an hour and a half or so went by. And finally, Charlie came in. And, he wasn't being a jerk. He wasn't being mean. He was trying to, like avoid us or anything like that. He spent an hour and a half after his speech shaking the hand of every single person out there that wanted to shake his hand.
Wow.
Spending time talking to each of them. And when you say talking to each of them, it's not like your typical just like, oh, shaking hands, walking by. Like, I mean, he's looking directly in the eye of the people that he's talking to, and he's learning their names that he'll probably remember, and learning something about them, and learning something about, like why they're at the event, where they're at in their life, where they're at in their spiritual walk, all these different things that he's gleaning from all of these different people that are at this thing. It took him almost 2 hours to just make 15 feet to get back to the backstage area where we were. So, then we have dinner. And so it's like, and we're kind of hanging out, and I can tell like we've been there for about a half hour or so. And I can just tell that Charlie is really, really tired. And when you're doing this stuff, man, I mean, it's tiresome. Speaking with people is tiresome for everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He just took all this time to do that. Now he's taking time to spend time with us. And it's like at some point in time, I looked at him and I said, Charlie, we really appreciate getting to meet you, getting to spend this time with you, getting this time alone with you. I want to let you go to bed. I want to let you go do what else you need to do. Because it was obvious that he wasn't going to ask us to leave. He was going to let us stay until we felt like we got enough out of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Want to be rude. Like, and he didn't want to make us feel like he didn't have the time for us.
Wow.
And sometimes you can just tell that people are tired. They're worn out. He was on the road at that point in time. It was ramping up, I believe, towards the midterms. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the road like crazy. And he took that time to be with us, and he wasn't going to tell us to leave. And so my first impression of Charlie was that he gives. That he gives. And I think his entire life was built around giving. Like Charlie wasn't doing any of this stuff, in my personal opinion, for selfish reasons at all. Like you said, he's not into the Lamborghini lifestyle. He's not into the getting rich lifestyle. He's into the how do we make the biggest impact possible in as many people's lives as possible. And it wasn't just about politics. Politics, what people on the left think of when they think of Charlie Kirk. But in reality, as much as politics, Charlie Kirk was about faith. And like he said, the way he wants to be remembered is his faith.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that he treated other people and the way that he gave other people time and encouragement. I mean, encouraging is the other word that comes to mind when I think of Charlie Kirk, is encouragement. You know how many times in the Babylon Bee we've had difficult things come up where we've said, basically, you talk about what would Jesus do? We've basically said, what would Charlie do? What would Charlie do in this situation? And he's not the only one. There's other people that are like that. Like what would, in certain situations with business, we say, what would Elon do? It's like, but Charlie was one of those people. It's like, what would somebody who's steadfast in their faith, steadfast in their beliefs, that never wavers do in the situation where they're being asked to delete a tweet or lose their platform? And that was honestly part of the thought process that went into us deciding not to delete a tweet. And that became a big, kind of historical event somehow. And I'm not going to lie at all. Like he was a part of the decision process in my mind on a personal level as I'm thinking about these things. That's the way that he impacted me.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that that's just a drop in the pan to how he impacted the political movement in the United States, the election of President Trump to his second term. And that's why he was so hated, because he was so freaking he was so effective, so
and unapologetic,
and unapologetic.
Yeah, well said. I can't think of a better tribute than that. And I just think the best thing we can do is, like you said, hug our kids and keep going with the message. This cannot silence it.
Yeah. It's like, even because I didn't have a very close connection to him, you could just feel it in the air, like how things had been affected. And I saw, because we were shooting the California to Texas season 2, one of the episodes, the last episode of the season, I believe. And, I saw how the entire tone got somber, and everyone's like, man, I can't be funny right now. This is, it was a big hit for everybody. And, I was affected by that, and to the point where it was the same thing. It was I went home and I was like, I want to be with my kids. I want to be with my family. And I think that's a testament to his influence, that he can affect me, even though I didn't really follow him.
Yeah. On the channel yesterday, before, of course, if you know anything about how it works at the Bee, we have a Slack channel and we're pitching. It's like rapid fire, and they're crazy. It's whatever we can think of. We're just throwing it out there. And it stopped. It stopped. As soon as the news came in, no one was pitching anything. And then someone just popped up and said, I don't know how we can be funny. I don't know how, but we're going to be. we're going to keep going. We're going to keep being funny and snarky and using our platform to when the time's right. The time is right. Yeah, no, we weren't going to throw anything up, last night, but the Bee is not stopping. Turning Point USA is definitely not going to go anywhere. If anything, they're going to grow and get bigger and bigger from this. So it was all for nothing. I mean, it's not like his speech has been silenced. A million other people are going to pop up now, and I hope and pray that his legacy continues.
That's a difficult thing too, because you talk about people filling other people's shoes. Like Charlie Kirk is one of those people. Like Trump one day isn't going to be eligible to be president anymore. Trump one day isn't going to be with us anymore.
Right.
Who can fill his shoes? Really nobody. And it's not that nobody can lead.
Gavin Newsom is sure trying hard to be the next liberal Trump.
Yeah, no kidding.
But there's no Trump. There's no replacement for Trump. There was no replacement for Abraham Lincoln when he died.
MLK. Yeah.
There was no replacement for MLK. In fact, the people that filled the void were Marxists and communists, and
they're still here.
It was a bad thing. There's nobody honestly who can replace Charlie Kirk at all. Not even close at Turning Point USA, or in the movement. The effectiveness that he had with youth was a unique thing, a generational thing. And it's impossible to replace him. You could put anybody in that role and they're not going to do the same things that he did. And it doesn't mean that there's, not somebody who can lead that Turning Point USA successfully. I think that they will have successes. But man, it's just like Steve Jobs at Apple. It's like, it's not the same with Tim Cook. It's not that they're not still making money, and it's not that they're not still making an impact, but the heart of what that was isn't there anymore. And I think we're going to feel that loss. We're going to feel that loss. It's not going to go away. For a long time, we're going to feel that loss because we don't realize how much we benefited as a movement, a conservative movement, a Christian movement in this country, from young people getting involved. When we talk about all of these Rasmussen polls or whatever that are showing that young men are moving to the right at record pace, Charlie Kirk is responsible for that. Yes. I hope you people realize this.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with you, Dan, 100%.
The two people I would say that are the most responsible for that in the country right now, love them or hate them, were Charlie Kirk and Scott Pressler. Like, those two people were the two people that were getting people into the movement. Yeah. And if you stop bringing people into the movement, your movement stalls. And so this is not a replaceable person. They knew what they were doing by targeting him, sadly. And I'd like to say, we'll come back even stronger. I'm not going to be disrespectful to Charlie that way. You can't be stronger than having Charlie at the helm. You can't be stronger than having Charlie at the helm of that particular calling that he was doing. And I'm not admitting defeat. I'm just saying they found the head of that snake. They did. Like that conservative movement that they don't want, that they wanted to kill, was Charlie. Yeah.
I would agree with you, but I would just, I guess, issue a battle cry then I'm going to say this a million times. I'm the mom of 4 boys. I have a daughter too. It's the next generation. There will never be another Charlie Kirk, but we can teach our kids to speak truth and to say hard things in public at the risk of social rejection. And I think that is something that we cannot lose. You're absolutely right. Charlie was once in a lifetime figure. There will never be another Charlie Kirk, but I really hope and pray that it galvanizes this young women and men. I went to the state capitol last night to the vigil that they held here in Utah and interviewed, 10, 15 different people and interviewed young women, 25-year-old college age women who said that Charlie Kirk radicalized them to be more conservative, to have families, to be a mother, to embrace conservative values. I interviewed a lot of young men who said that they were agnostic and then they started getting into Charlie Kirk and now they're Christian. And that impact will not go away. But you're right. He's such a huge figure. He's irreplaceable. But I just hope that his voice, at least, and his message can keep going. And someone out there is going to have to figure out how to do these debates, not like Charlie, but man, his style it was such a, yeah, you're right. You feel the void. We feel this void.
Yeah. And I think you're right in that. So he has big shoes to fill. But his role was important in the culture, and no one can replace him, and no one can replace Trump, like he said. But I think everyone working together can pitch in and try to fill that void. And so, yeah, hopefully it's a rallying cry for everybody.
And I think long term, I think it will bring leaders to step up. On the right, there are leaders waiting in the wings that are capable of leading, maybe in different ways than Charlie did. I think it's 100% true. To be honest with you, they could tap Seth to be the new leader of Turning Point USA, and I think that he would do an amazing job. I think that Seth would have that same type of connection. Too. And Seth is fearless, and that's the reason why Charlie, to us, I think it was a mutual respect. We had a lot of respect for what he did, and he had a lot of respect for what we did. But one person I do not want to get lost in all of this as well is the sacrifice, not that Charlie made, the sacrifice that his wife Erica has made as well. She must have known, and I didn't know Erica. I never met her. But when you talk about just what we go through with our wives, and me to a lesser extent than Seth, because Seth is putting himself out there in public spaces quite often. The uncertainties about security, the uncertainties about celebrity, the uncertainties about things like that, which really don't affect me on a personal level very much at all, but they do affect my brother. It's scary. And Seth speaks publicly, but typically Seth is speaking in very pro-Seth situations. Right? I mean, he's speaking in a closed environment to a church, or speaking in a closed environment to Turning Point USA, or, places that have their own security and that are very... Charlie was going to the places where he was the enemy number one and putting himself in that situation repeatedly. And don't take this at all as me blaming somebody for something, but, you do that enough times and bad things can happen, but Charlie did it anyway. Yeah. So Charlie wouldn't feel bad for himself that this happened. He really wouldn't feel bad for himself. I think he would feel awful that it did happen to his kids and to his wife. But she stood by him through all of that too. And the sacrifice that she made to allow Charlie to have this impact that he did can't go overlooked either. She really gave Charlie to all of us. And Charlie was a very present, very good father, very good dad. That was, with his kids, traveling with his kids a lot, all that other stuff. It wasn't to say that he just went out on the road and left his family. I'm just saying that lifestyle, those risks as a wife looking at your husband put himself into a situation where he's at risk all the time. There's protests at every single event that Charlie
vile, not violent. This was an act, but they were chanting F Charlie Kirk 2 seconds before he got shot. Yeah. There were students up in a balcony area chanting that. And you're absolutely right, Dan. As a wife on this end, I don't know if I have the strength to have watched my husband go through something, not just to be killed, obviously, but every day in and day out, to see him getting screamed at, yelled at, all the stuff online, it's that you're absolutely, she's a beautiful human being, and I follow her on Instagram.
A man couldn't do what he does without the support of his wife. So it's a testament to her. Absolutely.
That's a very good point. Yeah. And they're beautiful children. I have kids the same age. It looks like, from the pictures of what their two little kids are, and they'll grow up without a dad. And I can't think of anything worse than having someone like that in your life taken away.
And I'm going to share the screen real quick. This post was made hours before the event. This was Erica Kirk's Twitter account. I'll zoom in. This was just hours before he was shot. Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. That was the last post that she made before. And the one before, Psalm 34:8. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. I mean, she was just that. This is who they were. This was them as a family. Very encouraging. Very in the Bible. Very in the Word. And it breaks my heart.
Yeah. We talked before the show about how to not get too into the doom and gloom, because I don't think Charlie would have wanted that. And I do think this conversation has been somewhat cathartic for me, to just talk about all the good and to feel a little hope, almost like some group therapy that we're going to just publish out on YouTube. But I think everybody should have these conversations. If you're feeling it, and have them with people who might disagree with you. I don't share anything political online. And I put up an Instagram post last night just with pictures of the vigil and talked about how hard it was. And I got some beautiful messages from people, friends of mine, who are not conservative, who just said, this is really hard. And it's a terrible day for the country. And if anything, I hope it brings people together. And that, again, would be what that was his whole mission. Charlie's mission was to bring people together and even to have hard conversations. But I have been encouraged at some of the messaging I've seen on the left. I've been very discouraged by some of the messaging I've seen on the left. I think we all have seen that. And I just try to ignore it and move forward, because we've got a mission. We've got a mission to fulfill here at the B2.
And that brings up a good point about the messaging on the left. We often share what we call blue hair breakdowns. We're not going to do that this week. There are tons that we could share. These people are nuts, and I don't want to proliferate any of the messages of hate that they have towards Charlie. So even if it's over the top and it's ridiculous, and we can either A, laugh at it, or B, just scoff at it, I don't want to share it. And there were a lot of condolences that went out from politicians on the left that most of them I had to roll my eyes at. Kamala Harris's statements about how she's disturbed by this and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, we don't need to go into too much detail on that. Like you said, this isn't about doom and gloom, but it really is. The one point I do want to make is that the culpability is with the politicians and the left-wing propaganda media arms of the Democratic Party, which is every media outlet pretty much that's out there. The rhetoric about the right, about how we're Nazis, how we're fascists, how we are threats to democracy, how we're threats to civil society, how we can't coexist with us. This Apple show that we talked about the Savant that we talked about last week, where she's going online and looking at posts. The types of posts that she's looking at for the people that she's trying to find and shut down are posts like the ones that Charlie Kirk makes, where he quotes the Psalms and then says something nice about biblical truth. Like, that's the type of extremism that these people in these shows are made to make you feel like are evil. And so
he would have been the radical on that movie or show. Yeah.
I think he'd be beyond what they're even going for, because like I said, he was like public enemy almost number one for a while.
He's the final boss. Yeah.
So it's Trump, it's Elon, and it was Charlie Kirk. For me, those are the three. In Elon, maybe it's come down a little bit with him now that he's not quite in the White House every single day and stuff like that. But it's Trump and it's Kirk for sure on the right, 100%. That's who it was. And not even that Charlie Kirk was the most famous person. Like, I honestly think that your average person, you walk through, the mall and you say, hey, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? And first of all, you're in a mall, there's nobody there, so you're talking to yourself. But if you were someplace,
that's another problem.
If you're someplace where there's people and you ask
some old ladies walking around,
hey, they're doing their jazzercise at 8 a.m. If you're someplace that there's people and you say, hey, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? Honestly, a lot of people, right and left, would not know his name. Right. They would maybe be aware of, or if they saw the video, oh, I know that guy, he debates everybody. They wouldn't necessarily know his name. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't public enemy number one for the media and for the people that
He had a movement behind him.
Yeah. Kamala's not sorry about this. Nancy Pelosi's not sorry about this. None of these people are sorry about this. Their rhetoric is purposefully meant in order to radicalize their base into doing things like this.
Yeah, they're only sorry that it looks bad.
Correct. The only one I believed, and I commented on Twitter. I've just stopped calling it X, by the way. I don't even care about X. On
Dead
Twitter,
naming Twitter, Dan.
I can't call it X.
John Fetterman said, send out his condolences and talked about how this is unacceptable. And I responded to him and I basically said, you know what? You're the only liberal politician. You're the only Democrat politician that I actually believe means this. You're the only one. The only one. Not one other person in Congress, not one other politician, current or former, do I believe is upset about this.
Well, because they all had to shoehorn in some message about they had to both sides it. Newsom was there's violence on both sides, and we got to watch out. And it's like, this seems very particular. Very particular. I don't think we need to both sides it. This is a very specific attack.
Well, let's watch real quick what happened when Lauren Boebert asked for a moment of prayer.
Oh, it was.
That's wild.
Lauren Boebert. Yeah.
Is it Boebert or Boebert?
I say Boebert.
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 Stephen Colbert.
Bowie Bear.
Bowie Bert.
All right, let's share this real quick. This is insane. This is after a prominent right-wing politician. He's not a politician technically, but he was a politician. Is murdered. This is the reaction that they get. Just asking for a moment of silence, a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk on the floor. Am I sharing it? No, I'm not.
No.
Always forget the last button. There we go. Here we go.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise?
Shh. Oh, it's hard to hear.
It is hard to hear. She just asked for a moment of silent prayer, a moment of vigil for Charlie Kirk, and immediately the people over here on the other side, they start throwing a fit.
Shh. Let's wait a minute.
Somebody's cursing, saying the F word.
The house will be in order. Shh. The house will be in order.
Oh,
it's really inappropriate.
It's very inappropriate, but that's the response. These are the people that we're sharing this country with. They're not sorry about it. And I guarantee you all the people that were even yelling probably put out condolences on Twitter.
Oh yeah. They had to do their public service thing. But
I can't think of a single public figure that I would act this way about if they died. And there are some people on the left.
I wouldn't act this way if George Soros died. I would say condolences to his family. I hope they find peace. I hope his soul rests in peace. I hope that he knew his maker, even if he didn't seem like he did.
Especially if he died violently like this,
No.
Oh yeah.
Even foreign, even foreign leaders, like you don't wish death upon anybody. I mean, you talk about Hitler, and Hitler's like always this one like polarizing person.
He's the one exception to the rule, right?
You always are like, no, except for Hitler.
Yeah,
I would hope and pray that Hitler got justice for what he did.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm not also not going to just go celebrate. Celebrating winning the war is one thing, but just celebrating the death of one person in any circumstance, almost at all, it's sad because that person was created in the image of God.
Yeah.
And whether he fell away from that or not, like it's over. You don't have to celebrate. You don't have to celebrate at all for anybody dying. I've never celebrated somebody's death in any way, shape, or form. I've never even been happy about it privately.
Really, for me, if some prominent figure on the left was assassinated, a political figure, someone I really like, I can't think of. I dislike Zohran Mamdani a lot. But I do. I don't hope he dies. But if he were shot, I would feel dread because I would know he would become a martyr, and all of those ideas that he had would then.
If we found out that he had been shot, the same tweets that I made, the same exact response that I had, he needs prayers right now, would apply. It's
Right.
like he's on his deathbed. His life has been wrongfully potentially taken from him. He needs prayers, just like Charlie did. It's
Just
not
like anybody does.
But that's only half of the country for some reason. The other half of the country is happy about it. They're celebrating it. You can find those stories on TikTok. You can see all those other things. And to talk about one other news story this week, because it ties into all of this, and we didn't talk about it last week, and it's blown up, is the stabbing that happened in Charlotte on the light rail. Yeah. And the way that the media has responded to that, and the way that the media and the left responds to this, are the same. And something's happening in this country right now. There's some sort of a boiling point where people are fed up with it, right? Like woke policies, DEI policies, and things like that have enabled so much harm in this country. I made a post about the stabbing and about how we need to defeat the men of this generation need to defeat the woke mind virus. There were a lot of racist comments in response to that. It wasn't wokeism that killed this girl. It was the black person or whatever, and just going down that rabbit hole. And it's like, yeah, there was a person who killed her 100%. But this country, there are people, these magistrates or whatever they call them, that are out there that don't even need law degrees.
They don't need law degrees. What is that? Like,
that are releasing 14-time violent criminals that are schizophrenic back onto the streets, need to be held accountable and culpable. The media that demonizes Charlie Kirk needs to be held culpable and accountable for the deaths that are happening. And I don't understand how you get there, but it has to happen. And it doesn't matter if it's a left wing or a right wing. If there is a right wing media outlet that says that somebody like AOC or somebody like Mamdani, one of these, like high impact left wing politicians is a threat to our democracy and must be dealt with, and then they died, that right wing outlet needs to be held accountable.
Yeah. Or dehumanize people by calling them fascists because you disagree with them. There are real fascists in the world, guys. There are real fascists. And guess what? 99% of the Republican Party is not them. I'm sorry. Not everybody who has a MAGA hat is a fascist. But when we create this narrative, you're absolutely right. You can dehumanize people and then you can do anything. So there's the term stochastic terrorism, which is essentially verbal calls to violence, which can incite, people call it stochastic terrorism. It incites actual acts of violence. And I am very careful because I'm a big proponent of free speech. And I think anybody should be able to say pretty much anything they want. But when it comes to the media, the narratives being crafted, they have a responsibility to be metered and to lower the temperature, not constantly be feeding this and we know on, was it MSNBC, Michael Dow got fired after he said some horrific things on air about Charlie Kirk, literal moments after the man died. You
said you say evil things happen, or you say bad things happen.
If Fox News said that again after someone's death, I would expect them to get fired as well.
And they wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't. And I'm not a huge defender of Fox News, but nobody on that network would do that.
Yeah. You know what I think is interesting is that people are, I think we're rightfully complaining about how the media is handling the Charlie Kirk news, and even the Ukraine woman being stabbed, that news. And people are kind of pointing out, where was the Republican outrage when the Minnesota politicians were murdered? And I guess that was some months ago. And I'm like, but no one was celebrating either. No. And the reaction's completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is different. And in the moment, I do, and I'll say this, and people might be mad at me, but I do think Trump should have flown the flags at half staff for Melissa. I can't remember her last name, but she was the House rep for Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I thought that was bad form that we didn't. And I think it's good that we're flying the flags at half staff for Charlie Kirk. But with that said, you're absolutely right, Travis. There was not this blue sky right now, blue sky, which is a collection of a hive of scum and villainy, but it is all the liberals. My husband has an account on there and he was showing me, it is literally just the entire site is just people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. The entire
one of the craziest clips I saw, which it didn't even actually, I don't even think go viral, but Don Lemon was responding to the news live. He was live streaming.
Okay.
And he was sharing his screen and he was sharing the comments on his own live stream as he was scrolling through and responding to people. Don Lemon seemed psyched about what was going on.
Oh, I bet.
He seemed like he was like a kid in a candy store. He was into the story. Now, Charlie, the word hadn't come out yet that Charlie had died. But it shouldn't matter. Charlie got shot, and he's like, "Oh, we've got reactions here. Let's start reading our reaction." I mean, he's responding to this like it's like his Christmas that Charlie got shot, and like that's just like the normal leftist reaction to things. And it's really crazy because we live in a country where we share half this country with these people. And I want to kind of wrap up the conversation now a little bit. And I would like to read some B forum headlines because we need a little bit of levity. And
you guys are funny. We need some.
And you guys are funny, and we do it each week. So I don't want to get away from that. But the media's reaction to this just goes to show you that something has to fundamentally change in this country. And I'm not just talking hyperbolically. Like we have to take the Arena's death and Charlie's death and do something with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about taking up arms. I'm not talking about being violent. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about winning every single House seat that we can win and doing everything that we can do within the political process that we have in place in the United States to recapture the institutions that we need to recapture in order to make sure that law and order reigns supreme and that decency and civility reign supreme in our country, because it has been taken over by madmen. It is Gotham, and Bane has released all of the prisoners, and it is anarchy and it is chaos. And we need to choose Christ or chaos, and we need to choose Christ. And we need to choose to go back to the fundamentals of what made this country great. And I know that that's what, a lot of people in the movement of Donald Trump have been saying the entire time. And a lot of people in Charlie Kirk's corner have been saying the entire time. That's exactly what they were trying. Charlie was trying to usher back in as kind of a revival of the American spirit. But it has to happen because our nation is in grave danger of being overtaken by these lunatics. And they're lunatics. They are lunatics. And I'm not calling for anybody to go out there and do anything about them. I would never wish any harm on any of them, but they're lunatics, and their thoughts and their dangerous ideas that harm everybody need to be held at bay. And it needs to happen through the political process, but it needs to happen. And that's what our calling needs to be. I'm fired up about it. I might start going into politics now. I don't know.
Hey, I'll vote for you, Dan. Dillon.
I'm now
President Dillon.
President Dan.
It's not going to be 2028. It's not going to be 2032 though. I think in 2036 is what feels good.
Can I be your vice president?
You can be my secretary of
DC comic books.
Just my secretary.
Okay, thanks. Hey, at least I get to go to the White House.
But
I do not want to be VP.
You have to wear a wig though, because in traditional America, a woman would be secretary.
Oh, I thought you were going back to traditional America, like powdered wigs.
Like a powdered wig.
I'm talking about misogyny. I'm talking specifically about misogyny.
You have to call me Toots every day. Hey, Toots, where are the notes? Take some notes, Toots.
Pinch your butt as you walk by.
No, don't do that.
No, you can wear a butt implant, so I don't actually pinch you.
Oh, okay.
We have to go through the whole process in order to make it authentic.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Anyway, let's read some B forum headlines.
Okay.
On that
before I start reading those, I'd like to share a message from Editor-in-Chief Kyle Mann.
Yes. I'll bring it up on screen. Hold on. I think I have the picture.
So the Kyle shared this. It says today. I don't know if it was today, but at any rate, he said, the mission of the bee is more important now than it has ever been. We must respond to darkness with light and laughter. We must continue bringing joy to those who despair. What you guys do day in and day out is crucial in the fight against the forces of evil. We are winning, and the demons are scared. Pray, hold your loved ones tonight, and let's keep fighting tomorrow.
Amen.
So he shared that in response to the news, obviously,
and he shared that that was with our writers. That was in our Slack channels. So he shared that with the staff of the Babylon Bee. I noticed here, Travis. I noticed here, though, Travis, that you didn't like it. I didn't.
Well, this was a screenshot. This was his screenshot. He posted on Twitter.
Oh, okay. I thought
this was not my screenshot.
Oh, so then
my screenshot would have had like 1,000 likes.
Yeah. It's a great message, and it's true, and that's the thing and that's why it hits home so much. The situation with Charlie hits home so much, because really, The mission of the bee and the mission that Charlie had are very similar. You're spreading light in the darkness. You're spreading the word. You're spreading Christianity. You're spreading truth. You're spreading political awareness to the point that you need to be aware of things that are insane that are happening in your country. All of the same types of things that he was trying to accomplish in his life is what me and Seth and the rest of the Babylon Bee staff's like life goals are, really.
Yeah. And I think it's a good reminder too, because the instinct is to not be funny. It's to, well, we need to be somber and not do anything. And there's a time for that, but you have to get back out there and start cheering people up and spreading joy.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. On that note,
let me bring up another
Press
thing.
the appropriate buttons to get
I'm trying to. I don't know exactly what that means. There we go. Hold on. I'm going to zoom in so we can see. And I'm going to go to publish. And I'm going to go
it's
here.
still not on screen yet.
I know.
It's down, forward, high punch.
AB.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Where are we at?
We are here on the published tab.
Okay. So this one's from LPA the Human. Satan plagues Job's fantasy football team with injuries. Sad.
So this actually got published. What was that one?
I think it's the exact same headline.
It's very rare that the headline gets published with the
Yeah.
exact wording. So that needs to get some sort of like extra, like
Good job.
published 100%. So let me
it's
give
not
him,
just the essence, the
I'm gonna
LaCroix of the headline.
I'm going to give the
Formal
handshake, formal handshake. Like you've done it. You've done it. Okay. Here we go.
And this one's from The Big Freeze. Lost manuscript mentions court official Rand, son of Paulus, objecting to King David not using due process before killing Philistines.
That is very wordy.
I'm guessing we rewrote that.
How did we publish that?
The published version
No
reads, David condemned for executing Goliath without due process.
That is way
we got
different.
We got there. It's the same concept. We just
I appreciate his good sport, bad.
and he even
headlines.
has hashtag bad headline Sundays.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's this next one?
From Di Palucci. Trump to rename other gov agencies to better reflect their missions. SSA to PPS,
we did this
Ponzi
list.
scheme. IRS to DEC, Department of Excessive Confiscation. USPS to NGIS, Never Got It Service. And NEA to DDTA, Dumbing Down and Transing Association.
We did
And
this as a list.
our list was 10 other departments Trump is renaming. So the B list, I won't go through it. The B list is really good, but some of them are the same.
Good.
So that one's good. All right. That was a week ago. I don't think we read this one though.
Yeah, this one's from someone else. I like that name because it sounds like I'm not introducing
I thought you were being like flippant. This is from someone else.
Someone else said, basic white girls horrified as U.S. destroys shipment of Venezuelan pumpkin spice.
Look, I have a pie here for pumpkin pie. There you go.
Pumpkin pie.
I didn't give this one a reaction. This one is going to be a mustache because they were disguised as other agencies. This one is going to be, is there a Rand Paul? Yeah, that's Rand Paul right there. Chef.
Yeah, he's Chef Rand Paul.
Chef
Yeah.
Rand Paul, as he is.
Oh, see this one over here on the side. Man suffering from allergies, skeptical about his ENT doctor. What the heck
And
is
it's
that?
Groot.
Nice. And it's an ant.
Oh,
It's great.
and oh, I'm an idiot. I said a Groot.
It's a pun. It does kind of look like Groot. Yeah.
It did look like a Dr. Groot.
All right, so now let's go a couple of featured ones. We'll do a couple of feeling lucky, and then we'll be done.
Sure. All right. From Don't Slow the Earth, Chicago mayor signs executive order making it a crime to report a crime.
I mean, that's
Genius.
just real. That's real. I mean, that's not satire.
From Babylon Josh, man gets 5,000 years in purgatory for talking trash to St. Carlo Acutis in Halo 2 lobby in 2004. What?
What is this even talking about?
One of you guys is going to have to break this down for me. I know what a lot of those
just the
words
idea of like you die, right? And you're being judged, and it's like, hey, you said something mean to this guy in this video game lobby. That's really funny to me.
I'm sorry, who's St. Carlo Acutis?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
That's what. Yeah, I think that's just way too specific.
I'm gonna look up. I just would like to know for reference who's
Carlos Acutis. Is it a gaming reference, Travis?
It's an English-born Italian Catholic teenager.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, you know what?
No, he died.
There was
he died.
He was
they made
declared
him
a saint recently. Yeah.
Okay.
He just declared a saint. So he died in 2006. So it was possible. So the joke is that it would have been possible.
Thank you, Dan.
He was a teenager on Halo 2 and you talked trash to him. So that's good. All right.
That's
specific.
It took too long to get there, but I appreciate the joke.
It paid off.
We had to do some research. All right.
I'm feeling lucky. It's going to be a novel.
I'm feeling lucky are my favorites.
Oh.
From Cheesy Bob. Chicago now the Whistle City. Tinnitus cases surge.
Oh, because because of gunshots. The gunshots are causing tinnitus. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's a concept.
It's missing something, but
it's missing a word. But I hear you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Give it a
Cheesy
mitten.
Bob. Cheesy.
Yeah.
I can give it a mitten because a mitten's just part of the story. You also need to have the food that you're cooking.
This poor guy had no idea that we were gonna.
All right, one more. Feeling lucky.
From Mel332, Mumdani declares free magic pumpkin spice to all socialist white single women who vote for him as mayor of New York City.
What is magic pumpkin spice?
It's just like normal pumpkin spice, but it floats.
You know, I would say this. Pumpkin spice has got to be like when we talk about like highbrow and lowbrow humor, which we've been now officially we've been deemed lowbrow humor by government agencies and things like that. No, who was it? It was a Supreme Court filing called us lowbrow humor.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Pumpkin spice is got to be the lowbrow of the lowbrow. It's the low hanging fruit joke.
It kind of is, yeah.
Isn't it?
It's an easy get. Yeah.
Plus, honestly, I don't get why it's sort of a female stereotype. I love pumpkin spice.
I've never had.
Maybe
I like pumpkin spice.
Don't say that to me, Travis, while you're wearing your wig. I'm going to get confused.
This is the day I found out.
It's like that line from Wayne's World. Have you ever been attracted to Bugs Bunny when he put on a wig and dressed up like a girl bunny? No, neither have I.
All right. So I'm going to wrap this up by adding one more thing to the screen, which is probably going to take me 5 minutes like usual. Let's see. Great. So I want to end this topic today with talking about Charlie Kirk and leave you with his own words, which are very poignant. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. We miss you already, Charlie, and we're thankful for the positive memories that we have of you and for the impact that you are going to have eternally, not just on this earth, but eternally. And thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week on Beyond Parody.